Okay. Welcome back again to the first episode of Chilling with Beaw. I brought my lovely friend Mercy here to hang with us. Pull up my notes real quick. So, our topics for tonight are friendships and your goals for the coming year. So, real quick, Mercy, introduce yourself.
Okay, so hi there. I am Mercy Maddox. It's my 8th year as a reigning pageant queen. It's my let me start that over. My name is Mercy Maddox. I am a pageant queen and information designer from Calgary, Canada. And yeah, is that a good introduction?
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm the current Miss World International 2020. Yeah.
Okay. I was fixing my watch. So, to start it off with our first topic, what makes a strong friendship?
Ooh. Okay, do I start that off or do you start off?
You can.
Okay. So that could be a number of things. I think a lot of friendships, it can change what that means depending on the circumstances around it. Like circumstances like, are you starting up friends from school, from work, proximity, like do you live in the same city, do you not? And then at the end of it, all of it comes down to communication, just like all things. And you kind of figure out as you go what each other likes and dislikes and how to hang out with each other. How does the other person function in friendships, and then there's what makes a friendship strong is understanding, a lot of understanding, and just being there for your friend when they need you is an important thing about friendships, in my opinion. Yeah, that's the baseline of what I could think of, what comes to the top of my head.
Amen to all of that.
What about you? What comes to your mind with that question?
I think for me, most of it is stuff that you've already said, but it's also from personal experience. If your friend comes to you and says that they're in this situation and they don't give all of what's happening and they only give like a biased one side situation,
yeah.
You can't just take their side without the other person's side, because your friend could be completely in the wrong and you wouldn't know it.
That's a good idea. Honestly, blind faith going into a friendship is not healthy, or any kind of relationship really, because I feel like we always have to give the benefit of the doubt with situations. And if, say, for example, someone tells me something about somebody else that we mutually know, then I'm just like, okay, I'll take that into consideration. Like, that's in my head. You've already told me there's nothing I can do about it. But I'm not going to start judging that person based on that immediately without knowing or giving the opportunity for that person to explain the situation,
Yeah.
It happens all the time and all too often where there'll be friendships. Have you ever been in that situation? I feel like everyone has, of course. But that situation where you have like a group of friends or something, and after that, 2 people are fighting in it. And after that, they're all like, oh, this person is super rude and I don't like them. Like, well, that person's super rude and I don't like them. It's like, take my side or you're not my friend. And they're like, you take my side or we're not friends. And you're like, oh.
all of that is just high school innate nutshell.
Actually, yeah. Yeah. I think people in the moment when they first start doing those kind of things, or I know some people that do that now at my age at like 24, where they do those kind of things and they don't realize that's like, hey, that's super unfair. Like, let me make my own choices about my friendships. I mean, recently, at the beginning of quarantine, I had a friend group where it's just like me and 2 other girls. And then for me at the time, it was all of a sudden 2 of the girls, one of them just like, I don't want to be friends with you anymore. And then she left. And she was like, what? What's happening? And I'm like, oh, I'm really good friends with both of these girls. I don't know what's happening. We've all been hanging out, just the 3 of us, for such a long time. And it just kind of threw me through a loop because I'm like, am I supposed to choose sides? I'm not going to choose sides. But luckily, none of them made me choose sides. But I respected both of them to be like, okay, you know what? I don't want to judge any of you for breaking off friendships with each other or whatever's going on. You guys have your own experience together. And, you know, I'll just be here for both of you. Like, what's going on with you, person A, and what's going on with you, person B. And, you know, I'll get that, respect that, and then figure out healthy boundaries when you do have those breakups in a friendship circle. You know, like, hey, we're not going to talk shit. If you want to talk shit about this person, we're not going to talk shit because I'm still friends with that person or something. Or it, you know, yeah, boundaries. Establishing healthy boundaries in that is totally possible.
And I knew this person when I was still living in Ohio, who my group was cool with, but then over time we started to show how toxic they were. And since we most of us all lived in the same apartment complex, it was hard to avoid that one person. All of us would just chill. But long story short, the family as a collective was just ugh.
Like, it was like, okay, there's like a whole situation here that has built up this character in that person, unfortunately.
Yeah, because
so it makes sense.
Yeah, like the whole family would do that thing where they talk trash about you loud enough so where you can hear them.
Because they want a reaction out of you, right? Like, it's like this weird thing where it's like, I don't want you to confront me, but I want you to know, and I want to get a reaction out of you. That's why I'm doing it without discretion.
Yeah, like,
and that's just a toxic paradigm that you don't have to ever get involved in. My
whole thing was, I'm just going to answer in a different language, and if you get offended, that's on you.
Oh man, I mean, I started thinking of that. Kind of made me think for a second about going back to strong friendships and proximity. It does, just because you guys are around each other or spend a lot of time together doesn't mean that you're the best of friends either. Because I think back to a friendship that I had where it was like, out of all my friends, I spent the most time with this girl. We'll call her, what should we call her? We're gonna call this girl? Becky. Give me a random name. Becky. So I would spend time with Becky, and Becky has always been like this popular, beautiful girl. And like, I loved her because she was a childhood friend of mine, and then we just happened to be in the same city as soon as we were adults and going to university. But the issue with Becky is that issue with me and Becky is that she would constantly throw me to the side. And it didn't feel like we were always around together, but it always felt like it didn't matter if I was really there. I was just there to like make her feel comfortable. Specifically, nightclubs and parties is what we would do.
Oh boy.
And, you know, she would invite up. There was one time, I'll give you a few good examples. So there was one time she invited 2 guys from Tinder that she was talking to the same nightclub. The first guy shows up, and then she hears that the second guy that she's more interested in decided like, oh yeah, I'm gonna show up too. So then they kind of show up at the same time. So then she's talking to him like, oh hey, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, can you hold my purse? And then he holds her purse, and I stick around with this guy. A lot of the guys, I would just stick with them because I'm like, I felt so bad for them, even though if I knew it wasn't my responsibility to stay by them at the club, but I was like, I'm not doing anything special. Yeah, I'll just chill with this person. But then he was holding her purse. The other guy shows up and she starts dancing with him. Oh, the other guy's holding her purse. And I'm just like, oh man, this is bad. Like, and the thing is that she knew. It took her a year or two, or I think, because I stopped hanging out with her at a certain point. She stopped hanging out with me because we were both in programs in university, and it was just like, okay, we don't have time anymore. But then I didn't even want to rekindle our friendship because there was multiple times that she would just ditch me at the club, ask me to come out. I would say yes every time, like I didn't mind doing that. But then if I ever wanted to go out, up until this day, nah. She wouldn't be there for me the same way that I was there for her. And it was so bad on my part because why did I stay in that friendship? We'll get to that. But there was time where she was like, can we please go out? And I'm like, I don't know. And I was feeling really apprehensive about her, but I kept giving her chances over and over again. I'm like, okay, maybe this time will be different. We go out to the club. Pretty quick, she ditches me. But I didn't realize until later. I'm like, where did she go? And she's like, oh yeah, hey, I'm in a car with a guy and I'm going to his house. I'm like, you're in my ride. I didn't have any money at this time either, so I couldn't afford a cab or anything. And I was just so like, what the hell? Luckily, one of my other friends had written her phone number on my arm before I left. She's like, if you need me, I'm gonna write it on your arm, just show somebody, and then I'll come pick you up as soon as they call me. And she actually did, but I was like, that was the last straw. I was like, what the hell? Like, this happens over and over again. I'm like, and I don't know why I deserve it because I'm always there for her. And then I didn't speak to her. 2 years or so passed, and then we end up having to meet up again because a friend was in town. And then we started hanging out from there because she was like, hey, I realized that I treated you really wrong back then, and I'm so sorry. I was an awful friend to you. And I'm like, damn, she's being so sincere and she's apologizing. I didn't expect this. And so we started hanging out again. She's like, I'm so thankful for you, blah, blah, blah. I help her move into her boyfriend's house. I help her move out of her boyfriend's house when he dumps her. And it was like I am there for her out of anyone. When she has relationship problems, she would call me and then I'd be like, yeah, we could talk anytime. But then after that, she still treated all her other friends that she told me at the time that she couldn't go to, that I was lesser than them, even though if I put so much effort. And then I remember when we fell out again, it was because it was my birthday last year. And she was like, I think weeks before, she was like, hey, do you have time this Saturday or that Saturday? I'm like, yeah, sure. And then she's like, well, let's go to this one restaurant. I'm like, okay, yeah. And after that, she's like, I got a limo, shush. I'm like, oh my God, wow, she's actually planning like a birthday surprise. Fast forward to the date that it's supposed to happen. She's like, hey, we need to go to this restaurant at this time. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, that's fine. And then when I get there, I decide to bring one of my friends along as a +1. Thank God I did. But when we get there, there's a bunch of people at a table that I don't even know. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And so I sit down. She's not even paying attention to me. She's talking to a bunch of girls from her school and other stuff. And I'm like, okay. And I'm talking to a few mutual friends. I'm like, what's going on? When are we going to the limo? When are we going to the club? Like, what's the plan here? And he's like, I don't know. Ask her. And I'm like, hey, Becky, when are we going to, what's with the limo? And when are we going? She's like, shh, okay. The limo is at 10 p.m., but you can't say it too loud because it's for Leah's sister. It's her sister's 18th birthday. She's the girl at the end of the table, and that's why we're out tonight and blah blah blah. And I'm like, did she or did she not say that this was a birthday thing for us? She did not mention any other people other than me and my friend and another mutual friend coming. Instead there's all these people, and I'm like, I just crashed an 18-year-old's birthday somehow. So that was ridiculous. And then she pretty much ignored me the whole time. When we're about to leave, I see the girls like taking a bunch of selfies. She asks other people to join in, but not once, takes a picture with me. And then when we're gonna go into the Uber, all of a sudden she's like, oh yeah, there's no space in the Uber, so take a cab. And I'm like, cool, you invited me out so that I could go take a cab. I was like, fuck this. And then my friend was like, don't let her do this to you. We're gonna go to a different bar together. And then we did. And I texted that girl, Becky, that like, hey, that's really messed up that you did that. And she's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. She's like, I'm pretty sure I mentioned, she like gaslighted the crap out of me. And I was like, okay, I'm done with this. And then that's pretty much it. But fuck, that was a bad friendship. And I don't know why I have a hard time letting go of like ones that are rooted in childhood. But that's a good story on strong friendships. We spent a bunch of time together, but we weren't great friends.
How did she say that it was your birthday, like you were her +1 to another person's birthday?
Right? Because it was like 2 weeks in advance that she had planned out the specific date and approached me as, I got a surprise for you. I didn't forget your birthday. We're gonna have a birthday time. Like, don't worry, this will be great. I'm like, oh my God, she's being such a great friend. No, worst thing ever, and it was so bad. So
the only time I would do that to a person, it would be, is if it was for a person I was in a romantic relationship with, and I had concrete evidence that they cheated. That's the only time I would even consider doing that.
Right? It's unwarranted. I try to think back more than once of why, but it's like, no, I was just convenient for her. Friends, that's something to think about. Are you friends with this person out of convenience? Or are you friends out of obligation? Like, what level of friendship, right? Strong friendship is just, I know that I could talk to this person one-on-one and be cool with it, is one thing.
Yeah. And we covered the first and second question. The second one was, do you give second chances easily?
Ooh, oh shit. I will quickly wrap up my end of that and then we'll go to you. But I realized recently that I have anxious attachment, attachment styles. Those are really important to know because they affect your friendships, your relationships, everything. And so I learned that I'm a very anxious, I kind of tied up with anxious and secure attachment. Secure is the one you want, but I'm anxious in the way that I have trouble putting up healthy boundaries. That's only something that I've started to realize or practice in the past few months. I didn't really think about that in the past, but because I'm pretty anxious, I get really like anxious about if I'm forcing my friendship on somebody, because it's like a whole abandonment thing from like childhood or death, whatever. I have a lot of history of like wanting to put so much into friendships, but the wrong ones. Friendships and relationships, but the wrong ones. And it's like, yeah, like I just keep, as soon as they pull away, I'm like, yeah, no, I'll keep doing for it. I really love friendships too. And I put them on such a high pedestal growing up that I have to always remind myself like, hey, temper your expectations. That's what I do right now to try and avoid letting things go too far. So in the past few months, I've definitely put up some healthy boundaries with a couple people. And you have to just learn when is the time to be like, okay, I've had enough. I think that people can change 100%, like they have the opportunity, but it involves actual work. And it has to be seen. I'm not gonna believe that, after a week, yeah, I've changed. It takes progress,
If a person who is toxic completely flips in 1 week, how?
Sometimes I'll like a trial period, once you rekindle something, I'm like, okay, I'm open to seeing difference, but I've got my eye on you. I have a right to be hesitant if there was problems before. So what about you in second chances?
I found that I had to work on giving them, but knowing when to.
So you're not used to giving them?
Well, I am. It's just I gave them just like, okay, here.
Like before it was like just so, okay, fine. And then I'm guessing that you just kept getting screwed over in certain situations.
Yeah, and one time was when this girl like me, but for my friend.
What?
So she was like, hey, I like you and stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. And this was when we were in middle school, so of course. And we talked for 2 weeks, I think. And then she was like, hey, like she wanted to get to know my friend, and let's call him Bob. She was like, hey, is Bob, like, what does Bob look like? And since it was close to his birthday, I thought, okay, she wants to know what to get him. Come to school the day of his birthday. Mind you, this is middle school.
The middle school heartbreak.
Yeah. Well, the day before, both of them were chilling at his place and banged.
Oh my god.
So
oh no.
And since me and Bob were tight, he told me in the restroom during lunch what happened.
Did he know that you liked her?
Yes.
Oh.
And so he told me, and I was like, okay, fuck you, fuck her.
Yeah.
And like, these were my exact words. Fuck you, fuck her. You already did.
Jesus. Okay, did you give them a second chance in any capacity?
I gave Bob one, but that was like two months after.
Wait, so were you guys like able to get back to a good place, or was it like, okay, wait, how did that happen? How did you guys reconcile? Like, how did it go? Was it just, oh, we're around each other a bunch?
She cheated on him like two months in, and
she's surprised, ain't she?
And so so he came to me and was like, yeah.
One, I'm glad you dodged the bullet. Two, ain't she a prize? And three, oh man. So then you guys were able, was he like pretty good to you afterwards?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Sometimes that happens, right? Especially when you're so young and in the beginning of your teen years, like in exploring that whole thing. Like I've heard tons of stories about that in like middle school, high school. And it's like, it sucks because we all make stupid decisions at that time.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's some space for like, okay, that was back then.
I was going to say without saying too much. Next season of Teen Mom. So the last question for the first topic is, how do you deal with a toxic friendship?
Ooh. Okay, I think a few people out there are gonna know what I'm referencing, but this is all in good spirits and a teachable moment kind of thing. So I feel there was two situations where I've seriously broken off a friendship, and one was a girl that was my roommate and my boyfriend at the time, his best friend's girlfriend, and then we decided to become roommates for a year at university. And I was like, yeah, shit, it was a fun time. She disrespected the hell out of me that entire time, like left bloody meat defrosting juice on the counter, garbage bags in the middle of the hallway. It was just really bad. And I was working for the school at the time, so it reflected poorly on me as a resident advisor. So I was so upset with that. And it was the first time I had to break off a friendship with hello? Oh.
Yeah.
All I want for Christmas is you. It like froze. Alberto, I don't know if you can hear me, but it froze. I'm gonna wait until you're back.
I can hear you.
and I could hear you properly. I don't know if you could.
Yeah. The struggles of recording. What the hell?
Oh, you're back.
Oh my lord.
Hi.
Okay.
Should I continue?
Yeah.
Okay. So I ended up texting her. I sat her down a few times. Like I gave her months of it. So one of them was it sounds like not a big deal on the outside, but it was the straw that broke the camel's back kind of thing. Like I would give her a list of chores for our house and stuff like that. And it's like, hey, we split up the chores. We negotiated how we're going to split up the chores. She's like, yeah, didn't do them at all and fucked off for spring break. And I was like, thanks. I live here too, but okay. And then I didn't do any of her chores for her because I was like, this is ridiculous and unfair.
Yeah.
And the bloody mess, I remember it was there for at least more than a week. I want to say 2 weeks, but it was there for at least a week. And I was like, this is so ridiculous. And I remember because she didn't have any money at the time. And I was like, hey, I can give you some groceries. I have this and this and this that you can use. I have a specific shelf. Anything, if you are starving, here's some food you can use. There's some food at the food bank, like for students too, at the student center. And then she was like, oh no, that's okay. I don't want any of this or that and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. And then after that, we went to go study at the library. And then after that, she was talking to her boyfriend and he was like, because I was friends with him too. And after that, she's like, oh, I'm so hungry though, and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, what? Is Mercy not feeding you or like helping you at all? And she's just like, well, no. And I'm like right there. And I'm like, I offered you food just now. Like you, just because you didn't like it, but like, I'm not here to cater to you. I don't know. That was dumb. And then also there was a recycling bin that she put outside our dorm and was supposed to put back inside because it's like a violation for our student code stuff. And so I was like, hey, you got to put that back in. And I wasn't going to do it for her because it's just like a respect thing. And I sat her down after like, I think it was out for 2 months. And I was like, hey, I'm going to sit you down. We talked about a bunch of stuff. And then I was like, and also lastly, the recycling bin. You could put that back in today, right after this conversation. Like we're having this conversation right next to it. It's like right outside the door. And I'm like, you could put it back inside today. That would be optimal. But you know, I feel disrespected because I've asked you so many times and it's been out there for months and it's a bin. You could put it back inside. And then she's like, oh yeah, no, I understand. We hugged it out. We communicated the shit out of everything. Immediately she's like, okay, I'm going to go hang out with my boyfriend. Leaves the house. The bin is there for another 3 months. And then I left it for another 3 months. I said nothing. I said very little of anything, but I was just like, wow, she really doesn't respect me. She's a terrible friend on other accounts between her and I. But I was like, okay, finally I texted her and I was like, hey, I've had many conversations with you about it, like this and this and this. I reiterated my points. I'm like, I feel like you don't respect me at all. And I don't really think I want to be friends with someone like that. And so I would like to not be friends right now. And after that, she was so upset. I was upset. I went through all the phases of a breakup and we still had to live together for another month. And so I just tried to avoid her as much as possible because I was like, I'm not having it. When I leave somebody, I tend to usually want to like break up all contact whatsoever. The second time was a friend in our group. And when we had an altercation, it was the first time I put hard boundaries because I think I left space for sure in the way I was talking, left space for us to potentially reconcile, but I wasn't quite sure. But at the time it was like, hey, I know that what you did might be seen as not a big deal, but for me, you made a promise to me and you broke it. So you have to understand the consequences of that is I cannot tell you any more secrets. And I need you to give me space because you've done this to me before. So don't contact me for 30 days. Let me digest my feelings. Let me do other things. I hope you go and focus on yourself and bettering your life. I know you need it and blah, blah, blah. And then I wasn't sure. 30 days had passed and that was really good that they left me alone. But if they did break it in between, I would have been like, no, I'm blocking you. But luckily they didn't. So more than 30 days has passed, like I think 2 months after it. Only recently I messaged them. I'm like, hey, I've noticed everything you've done. You've been pretty chill lately. I'm comfortable. I want to say that I'm proud of you. You respected my boundaries. So I want to say that regardless, I appreciate that. I really appreciate that respect that you had for me to give me that space. And I'm comfortable talking to you again. I'm comfortable like being in the same room and all that stuff and blah, blah, blah. So then now we've restarted our friendship and I'm like, yay, good stuff. But
Yeah.
those are some boundaries.
That was a crazy two days. Oh boy.
Yeah, holy cow. Yeah.
So switching topics to something cheerful.
Okay.
What is your goal for 2021? Oh God, not again. Okay.
Intermission. Count them as like good editing intermissions. It ends right when we're like about to start a new topic or something. So that's pretty good. Okay. So goals for 2021. That's a tricky one. Who knows? Because like every time it's the pandemic vibes like looming over your head.
Yeah.
I would like to still travel somewhat. Not too much as I had originally planned before the pandemic, but I would like to go to Paris for sure, even for a little bit. I hope that I can do some internship work there because I was supposed to do some Fashion Week stuff. So I would love to do that if I still can. I hope I can meet up with a couple of friends. And most of all, I hope that I can get a handle on understanding adulting stuff because that's what I've started learning throughout the pandemic was like, okay, organization, finances, taxes, all that stuff. I want to make sure that I'm set and I feel comfortable on my own and taking care of things on my own. And maybe we'll see. Maybe I'll get into some sort of like a business where I could sell things. That's under wraps because there's so many things that I could potentially do, but I'm not sure what I want to do and what I want to involve myself with. So I want to think about it a lot before I pursue it and make all these plans. There's so many factors like, my target audience, shipping, labor, manufacturers, and all that stuff. I'm like, oof, I'm going to need some mentors. I'm definitely going to need some mentors for sure. And I just hope I continue to work on myself and understand myself, keep going to therapy. That's something I started up a few months ago again, and it's been amazing, just a good self journey. So I feel like that's healthy to make sure that I can not only be fair to others and seek healthier relationships with others, but have a healthy relationship and be fair to myself. Because I've realized that through the years, I have not taken enough time to be fair to me. What about you? 2021?
I think for 2021, I just want to grow as a content creator. I just like revamped my YouTube channel because when I guess it's like the second one, but when I started doing the games and stuff, they were they were good, but at the same time they were bad. So I didn't know when to cut the video. There was little to no editing, no mic, so it was just gameplay.
Yeah.
And with some videos that's good, but with others it's like,
you could really take it to the next level if you had like your commentary and all that stuff. Yeah, for sure. I see that for you.
Yeah, and with the one gaming video that I started now, there is commentary, but my audio compared to the game's audio is like 5 to 100.
Dang, oh my gosh. Oh, I hate that. That happens in video editing all the time with certain things that I record. I'm like, technical difficulty kind of stuff.
So,
okay, what do you foresee for your podcast? Like, what are your hopes for this? What do you see it in a year? Do you hope that you're still even doing it in a year?
I hope that I'm still doing it within a year, maybe with a better Wi-Fi connection.
The Wi-Fi.
The bandwidth. Oof. If the bandwidth was of a band, it would stretch this much. When I needed to stretch this much. Wi-Fi heard me.
Are you good?
Yeah, it heard me.
It was like, let me screw you over just a little bit more.
So, before I get a complete power outage, what are your hobbies?
Ooh, my hobbies. Okay, I really love plating. So like with fine dining and stuff, I want to cook more fine dining stuff at home and then just focus on decorating the plate, because my main industry is graphic design in my personal life. I like all elements of design. So then designing food on a plate, I'm passionate about food. That's something that I really would like to practice on. I have a lot of fun doing it. And hobbies, I also like playing Sims, and I say that, but I always realize that like, oh, it's been 6 months, because like I keep telling myself, I want to play Sims today, but then I don't have time because I'm like, oh, I got work, but I really should make time for video games. Other hobbies, I count my career as a hobby, so sometimes designing random stuff that I don't even get paid for is like a hobby part for me. And doing the modeling, sometimes I do free projects if it's like, oh, this interests me, okay, yeah, sure. Other hobbies right now, taking care of my puppy, Champion, and what else? I feel like I'm missing stuff at the top of my head is like, but yeah, those I think I would say are my main hobbies.
Yeah, and for those who have not seen her dog, he is a walking cloud. He is so fluffy.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Okay, let me see if we can go grab him really quick for this last bit here. Ooh. Champion. Oh, little bunny. He's just lying there being a good boy. I was surprised that he was so quiet throughout this thing. There he is.
Hi, buddy.
Did you want to mention your hobbies?
Yeah, I think, well, my content is hopefully going to become my job. I kind of as a hobby, because as of right now, I don't get like paid for it.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think music, because I like to listen to it, and I am trying to like get back into writing it, but when you take a long break and you try to go back and put what's in your head onto a pen and pencil, it is so hard.
I see that. So do you know how to compose at all, or do you normally get like, do you have any beats from somewhere that you get?
I want to learn to compose, but as of right now, I'm just sticking to get back to writing lyrics.
Do you find yourself doing that? Like, do you only do it when like it comes to your head naturally? Or do you sometimes try and like force yourself to sit down and like, okay, let's write today or something? Or do you just like do voice notes at all?
I've started to get my mind back into the creative mindset. I've started to like write, I guess, fictions of superheroes or this or that to just get back into being creative again.
Yeah. Do you think you'll create your own beats? Like, you know how people do it on like FL Studio or something?
Yeah. I think I'm going to save that for when I have a job and can get the right equipment.
Oh yeah, when it comes to jobs, by the way, like what would be like some of your optimal ones? Like when you think about like long-term career, other than like streaming and content creating, because I know you love that.
Since I kind of have like a set bar thanks to my few months at Goodwill, that's another whole, that's another whole topic. Oh Lord. But I think
you're gonna have to have a podcast episode about Goodwill.
Yeah. But let's just say.
Oh gosh.
But let's just say, bad management, gossip, injury.
Yeah.
Those are the
oh god.
points. But basically, a job where the management doesn't think that they're the shit.
Yeah.
One where if you, God forbid, do get injured, a coworker doesn't re-injure you. And,
oh my god, yeah.
And
sounds like human decency. I would like human decency.
Yeah. Come on. And like I want the pay of $9 an hour. But I don't want the hell of bad management.
Gosh. It's good that at least, I mean, like, the Goodwill experience was awful, but at least it sets a baseline. It's one thing you can get out of it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I know what I don't want. And knowing what you don't want out of anything is just as important in life lessons.
Yeah.
Sure.
If there was one good takeaway from that job, aside from, well, the pay, was the constant accessibility to Subway.
Oh gosh, I would eat all the time at Subway if I worked right next to it.
I did.
Oh, but the sandwich must smell good. It must smell good, like from a distance. You're like, oh shit, I smell the Subway.
Well,
Damn.
Before I would go to Burger King, that did not work well because their beef was not good.
Oh gosh, I don't like Burger King. People get shocked when I say that, but I'm like, nah. Burger King can kick rocks.
Yeah, if they had a Wendy's or a McDonald's nearby, oh yeah.
When I worked at McDonald's, I instantly gained like 35 pounds in just a few months because I was getting, they would give us free food or like 50% off at lunch, like anytime you wanted, and free soda all day. It was bad. It was a bad time, but so good. I'm still not tired of McDonald's. Sometimes I miss working at McDonald's. Even
Yeah. Anytime a person says that McDonald's isn't healthy, my response is, no shit.
no shit, Sherlock.
Like, whoever told you that McDonald's is healthy probably does crack. So
They're like, this is healthier than what I normally consume. What do you normally consume? Crack. Oh gosh.
And the last question is, how do you stay focused on your goals?
That's exactly what I gotta work on for next year. I've come to terms recently in a therapy session. My therapist called me on. She's like, you don't focus on one thing. And I think that's just been a problem that I've always had, especially at the start of my pageant career, was that I was doing pageants, school, work, more work, like different things all at once. So I felt like everything was getting, up until recently, that everything was getting little bits of mediocrity, because that's all I could spare, because I was just going from one thing to another. So that's something I still need to work on. But for now, I think I only start to regroup and get stabilized when I'm already hitting a point of like, I'm super overwhelmed. So I'm like, cancel everything, cancel all my appointments. I'm just gonna stay home for the week. But that's not a good idea to just like get to that point. So I think moving forward, one way to stay focused is, one thing that has really helped me so far to minimize the lack of focus is writing out lists. And I constantly write out a to-do list like all the time. And it changes like every day. I have different Post-it notes I keep in my car or at my desk where, where I can write in the car, like, okay, I gotta go get gas. I gotta go do this. I gotta do that. That way it's like, everywhere that I walk into, I can like focus on those main topics, and then every now and then something will happen that will just insert itself into my schedule, and then I'm like, okay, I got 2 things done on my list today, 3 things that were unexpected, and then the 5 other things that were on the list, I gotta push it back. So I definitely gotta improve on that and stick to the list that I set. One thing that Royce told me recently was I should just choose 2 things to get done by like 3 o'clock. Start from there. And it's like, cool, if you finish those 2 things well before 2 o'clock, you can move on to another 2 things that you'll get done. I'm like, oh shit, that is a good idea. Because then that makes me focus on like, okay, just these 2 things, just do that. And then you're good.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Are you really good at staying focused like that?
I was kind of like you, like I want to say last year, is when I started doing YouTube like daily. I was doing that, music, and trying to, I think I was doing my Goodwill job too. So like my mind was, oh no, I just gotten out of my Goodwill job, and I was recovering from that. I saw like a flash on my table.
Oh my god, it's a ghost. It's the ghost once more.
That's a whole nother podcast episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was doing YouTube, music, and recovering from a knee injury. So my mind was like scattered, and everything was getting like 5%. when I wanted to give everything like 110.
Yeah.
So now I'm
That makes sense.
yeah. Now I have like a schedule and multiple alarms.
Schedules and routines should definitely help. I forgot to mention that ever since I got Champion, what I do, because I have to time when he eats and when he sleeps kind of thing. So that I have like 15 different alarms on my phone that's like, okay, the day starts at 6:30. He has to be fed at 6:30. Then he has to be fed at 7:30. Make sure he has a nap at 12:30. And then after that, or no, like, yeah, he has to be fed at 12:30. Make sure he has another nap after that. Take him on a walk. Then feed him at this time. Hit bedtime at this time. And then it also reminds you, like, hey, you Mercy, prepare your dinner, feed him. Then after that, your dinner and all that stuff. It's like the routines are probably what's going to set me on the right path to sleeping early and eating on time, because I wouldn't even have time to eat for like years. I would skip tons of meals because I'm like, I just don't have time to eat. I got so much shit to do, especially with university. But now that I don't, it's like, you have so much more time, Mercy. Figure it out.
Yeah. And see, kids, this is why your parents say dogs are a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, oh my god. Making sure that it's timed, potty breaks, naps, sleeps. Oh my gosh. And he has to be kept on a schedule, or else then he starts whining in the middle of the night, or he's just losing his shit during the day. If I don't keep him on the schedule, he's like, I don't know what's happening, it's freaking me out. So it's been really good because he hasn't been freaking out, so I'm like, cool, he's fine.
The whining at night I get because with Brownie, if I'm the one who's watching him while my grandmother is at my aunt's place, then I have the nightly whines at night because he thinks he has to go out and use the bathroom, and that wasn't so much an issue during the summer, but it is December. Shit gets cold.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I know, that's why I'm like, everyone's like, are you gonna train him to go to the bathroom outside only? And I'm like, no, because it's cold. And also I'm on like a super high floor. You think he's gonna hold it for then, like as a puppy? No, not for him. So he's just gonna have to pee in the apartment in his own bathroom.
Yeah, and I'm glad I don't live in Ohio, because Georgia winters, fine.
Ohio, cold in
Ohio winters, 3 shirts, 1 jacket, and like 6 socks.
Oh gosh. I imagine Ohio winter would be like Canada winter.
There was a time when I walked out and the snow was up. It was like halfway up to my shin.
Ooh,
that was a cold night. That was a cold night. Oh yeah, I had walked out into the snow when it was that high at night with cold breeze.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Well, I think this was a eventful, stressful
Yay!
first episode.
I can't wait to see it all edited and put together.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. It was a fun time. I like discussing things with you.
Thanks for coming.
Humberto.
And thanks for making an appearance, Champion.
Ooh, and the teaser have clips of Champion in it because people love puppies. They'll be like, oh shit, I want to look at the puppy.
Yeah.
Right? Say bye to Alberto. Thank you, Alberto.
Bye,
oh, I'm so tired. Jeez. Bye.
Well, thanks for coming, and do you want to plug your YouTube channel?
Ooh, yes. Hopefully, I'll be releasing more content. Goal for 2021. My YouTube channel is Mercy Maddox, same as my Instagram and my website, mercymaddox.com. So if you want to check me out or find my social links, that's Mercy Maddox. Yeah. Thanks for having us. Also, this doesn't have to be, this isn't part of the show, but did you get the video games? Did they arrive?
Not yet. I think.
Ah, my God.
I think because of COVID, shit is slow.
Okay, I'm gonna check the package tracking because I don't want it to get lost. I'm scared.
Okay. Well, I will.
Okay.
I will see you guys in the next episode.